Always a good omen. It's so great. Cool. We're here now. Awesome.
Okay, there we go.
Yay!
Daddy's a little off center.
Yeah.
No worries.
Here, let me. Don't trouble yourself.
I can move over. I'm like not even in the center of my own camera here, so. There we go. There we go.
Good look. Now it's the other direction. What are you doing to me, man?
Don't move.
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 281. Your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rett.
Is this episode 1 all over again?
Yeah, basically.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or otherwise, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can talk with myself, John, Rett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
Perfect.
And we are live. Cool. How's it going today?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Knocked out a video.
Yeah.
And read a lot of really depressing news stories to get to all the good ones that we have here for you.
No kidding. I even X-nayed one last minute, so...
Perfect.
I guarantee you know which one.
Probably. I don't know. I just opened them all up. So.
There's so few to choose from. It should be a good show tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, the title story, Windows adding a handheld mode, or at least experimenting with such, how to get your settlement from Facebook's $725 million privacy suit involving Cambridge Analytica, and Netflix is shutting down DVD rentals for good after a 25-year run.
Sad day.
Yeah.
Sad day.
Yeah. It's the only place Rett could still get his standard screen instead of widescreen DVDs.
It's true. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I'm running out of options.
I'm not going to go buy a widescreen TV. I mean, that's just giving in to trends.
Yeah. One of these days is going to come back around and I will be right.
Kren sends over a couple Aussie dollary dues and says, "G'day mates, international travel is fun." I've actually never traveled internationally, although you have a lot of experience traveling internationally and have some great stories there involved.
Oh yeah.
From what I hear, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's basically my favorite thing to do before COVID.
Yeah.
Maybe not for I don't know, maybe not for work like Kren is doing, but you know, the recreational international travel is a lot of fun. So
yeah. Hopefully we'll be getting to do some international travel next year. I'm planning on going to LTX this year.
That's international.
That's international, technically international, but I think I'm gonna drive, so it's like,
What better way?
I know.
Hop in your car,
get my feet wet, just kind of.
See, the best thing about Canada for international travel is you go up there, and in BC, BC is just different enough that feels like another country.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of people, at least the first time I went to Vancouver Island, I went to Victoria, and everybody had British accents, which
just blew
surprised me.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, I am in another country,
Yeah.
You have to spend their colorful money. People are nicer. Just a whole other world.
Yeah. So. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this show started right. Rett, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight I have from 10 Barrel Brewing. It's the Sinister Black Ale.
Oh.
So I'm gonna be drinking this bad boy right out the can because I forgot a glass. But
shame on you.
I've already had a few of them, so like I know what I'm in store for. You know, I've already opened it up in a nice pint glass, but it's pretty good. It's a little light bodied, but really reminiscent of like some of the like dark lagers that I'm a big fan of. You know,
yeah,
just nice and malty.
Yeah, the German Schwarzbiers and the, you know, black IPAs and things like that.
Amber box.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely cool. This one is from Binary Brewing, one of my favorite local brewers here in Portland. It is the QWERTY IPA.
There we go.
And it's just a fantastic can. I love the little robot. I love the keyboard inspired font. Yeah, QWERTY IPA. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog to grab a pint of this modern West Coast IPA. 7%.
It's a pretty good one, actually.
Yeah. Let's see. We do have some beer shout-outs and drink shout-outs in the chat. American Cosworth is drinking a Graveyard of the Pacific. I believe that's the red ale that I had maybe a week or two ago.
Yeah, and that was from Cosworth too. Yeah,
that's right. Let's see. Outdorp has a Glenlivet 12, and he's hailing from Washington Tri-Cities. Awesome. Tech Guy 153 is drinking GW's Little White Lie by Middle Coast Brewing. Williams got his favorite again, Badger Hill Brewing Badger Snack Peanut Butter Stout. Nice. Let's see. We have a couple of peanut butter stouts around here. My favorite is Nut Crusher.
Nice.
and that is by Toppling, or no, not Toppling Goliath. Good Lord. Gosh, what's that brewery over in Bend? Drawing a blank.
10 Barrels.
No,
Sun River. Crux.
Nope, it's none of them. It's one
Boneyard.
Do you remember Les, the distributor Les used to work for? It's that one. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Nut Crusher is my favorite over here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you know, He had the Beaver Mountain. No. Beaver Mountain?
No.
I'm thinking of
Good
that
Lord.
other one. Whatever. Don't look it up. Who cares?
I'm looking it up.
You know, Jeff, if I had put
Wild Ride Brewing.
Oh, Wild Ride.
It was the
I wasn't
elephant
even close.
And the yeah.
I was on the other side of the alphabet.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to start with the W's.
If well, that's what I always tell everybody, but if I had put any thought into it, Jeff, I would have been drinking Bud Light tonight. But sadly, I just didn't leave the house today. So,
yeah, meanwhile, I spent like 2 hours in a car today, like just not even like going anywhere, just driving
in circles,
doing
for fun,
things.
Looking for Bud Light.
Yeah. Let's see. Got time for one or two more. Andrew's got a Ballast Point Brewing Grapefruit Sculpin IPA. I've had that one before. It's actually not too bad. Bell's Hearted Party Pack. Michael says pick your favorite. Bell's Hearted, well, it'd probably be the Two Hearted Double IPA. Whichever one that is. I know there's the Two Hearted IPA. I want the double IPA, whichever version that is. Let's see. There was one more. Drinking Sunny D and vodka from Ashley. Is that Sunny D vodka or Sunny D and vodka? Because either one of those would be interesting.
There we go. I mean, that's just the classic summertime drink in rural America. You know, Jeff? So,
you know, I'm not too familiar with that one. It was
in the places where they call it soda. That's where. No.
Silverton? Jeez. Actually, Sunny D vodka. All right.
Interesting. I mean, why not, dude? They got everything.
I need to look this up. Oh, it's a vodka seltzer. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sunny D vodka seltzer. It's a real thing. Hold on. I was not aware of this.
Are you over 21?
I'm gonna say yes. Yeah, Sunny D and vodka seltzer, your two favorite things. There are many assumptions being made by that statement.
I know. I was just thinking that too. I was like, damn, dude. I mean, they know who they got clicking on that page, you know? Otherwise, they wouldn't be so bold. Wow. We're the anomalies here.
I mean, I appreciate a good Sunny D, but I'm more of a 10 guy myself. So
I mean, for sure. You know, if NASA didn't have a part to play in it, I don't want it in or around my body. So.
Right. Oh, man. All right. Let's go ahead and get this show. We'll try to put it on the rails, but I have no guarantees tonight. How to apply for your share of Facebook's $725 million settlement in the privacy suit in conjunction with the Cambridge Analytica breach containing 87 million Facebook users' data. For those who don't know, that settlement was reached... was it something like 6 weeks ago or something like that? And this all stems from a 2018 lawsuit from Cambridge Analytica, which had more access than we intended to give them, if you believe the Zucks, who also says that Facebook did nothing wrong in this, even though they had to pay $725 million in a settlement for something that they did wrong.
But part of the settlement says that they don't admit wrongdoing,
right? They don't
which I think is hilarious.
Any wrongdoing, and the two settlement newses this week has me just questioning everything.
Yeah.
As if I wasn't already. But yeah, Meta, the parent company Facebook, did not admit wrongdoing as part of the settlement. So they're just going to write the check and say, like, no, we didn't do anything wrong. We're just going to pay you anyway.
Strangely enough, didn't it really feel as though the shift to Meta came after this whole thing kind of unfolded? And they're like, well, Facebook was the problem, but we're Meta now.
Right.
So
right. Almost like a forced rebrand kind of,
right.
You know, who knows? Maybe I'm overreading it, but this is a settlement a lawsuit that started all the way back in 2018, following a Facebook disclosure that it had accidentally leaked 87 million users worth of data through Cambridge Analytica. So if you've had a US Facebook account anytime between May 2007 and December 2022, you have until August 25th to enter a claim, and the link is actually in the link that we posted for the news article. So chances are you have a Facebook account or maintained one at some point. Even if you deleted your account, you can go in. I went through and looked at it earlier. I entered mine because I'm a sucker for class action. I'm going to put mine in. I don't care if it's 38 cents. I'm going to get mine.
I mean, I ended up getting like $300 from that Arco settlement. So it only took like 10 years, but whatever.
Right. Yeah, I got 175 or 200 and change or something like that.
Yeah, perfect.
I did get money back from the AMD bulldozer pile driver settlement. I got some for price fixing of LCD panels.
Nice.
So I've been around the block with this kind of stuff. But yeah, you have until August 25th to enter a claim. The payout is not yet determined because it depends on how many users submit claims and how long each user maintained their Facebook account. So, you know what? Speaking of which, no one go claim this. It's not worth it. I want to keep that number as low as possible.
Nah, get on the train. The more the merrier, guys. That's what class action's all about, baby.
Yeah, but if all 87 million do it, it's gonna be 38 cents. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I was a part of a class action lawsuit in Salem, actually. I was a part of this musical group that the owner or founder or CEO of it, whatever, just kind of absconded, owing like hundreds of thousands of dollars to all of his workers and musicians, including Joshua Bell, the violinist, if anybody is familiar with that. He's like world-renowned violinist. You might have seen him on this viral video where he was busking in a subway station and like made like $20 playing a set that he had played the previous night in some world-renowned opera house where he made like $2 million. And the idea behind the viral video, people were sharing it on Facebook of all places, and they're like, world-renowned violinist playing a $4 million violin, playing a $2 million set, made $20. Art is truly dead. And it's like, he's in a subway station, for God's sake.
Yeah, the problem is other millionaires who were at that show didn't take the subway to get there, nor did they even carry cash.
Yeah. Not only that, but like, you know, world-renowned violinist, sure, but like, who is he outside of like the context in which you know him? If he's not on stage, like he's just another guy. But I don't know. Anyway, the point being is that he played in our group and was owed like at least $40,000, if not more, maybe $80,000.
Jeez.
And so anyway, I think when it was all said and done, my slice of the pie was like 50 cents.
I did a little bit of sidewalk hustling, playing a number of different instruments. Probably most frequently, I would play clarinet on the side in Eugene, Oregon. I would at the time I was living in Eugene. I was going to school in Springfield, on the far end of Springfield, and I rode the public bus into Eugene to get home. Well, I practiced every day, and so oftentimes I would just, on the way home, open my clarinet case, drop it on the ground, and start just going through whatever solo or concerto I was trying to learn at the time, and made $5-10 a day, like just for like sitting out there for an hour.
Nice.
And hey, I got my practice time in, so there we go.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so
yeah,
you too can busk.
Yeah.
Although I feel like they crack down on it a lot more anymore. It was like, where's your permit?
Yeah. And that sucks. Like, I do like street performers and street art and all of that. It adds to the atmosphere of a city or even just a neighborhood. It does add some things to it, and yeah. Get off my lawn.
The point of the story: hop online.
And if you're on my lawn, bring a saxophone.
Thanks, Facebook, for that.
Yeah.
Get off my digital lawn.
Right. All right. Moving on. Netflix is finally shuttering their DVD by mail rental service after 25 years in operation. But how long was Blockbuster in operation, or even some of the smaller chains?
I mean, Blockbuster's still around, so.
Well, there's the one.
And
right. I mean, I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying in general. Like, did Blockbuster even have a 25-year run? Or
they had to have, right?
I mean, VHS was not really a popular thing, and it was very expensive at the intro. Where I believe it was like 82 or 84 when players even started showing up in people's houses, let alone got super popular. Like, it wasn't until 88 or 90 when you can go to grandma's house and grandma had a VHS player. And
1985 Blockbuster was founded.
Okay.
And I guess like, when did it go?
It's been a while.
It peaked in 2004.
Okay. So that's only 18 years in operation.
By 2014, the last 300 corporate stores closed.
Okay, so they made it
keeping only privately ones open.
Okay, so they made it just shy of 30 years in total.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I love Blockbuster. I had one by my house, and when they came out with the Summer Games Pass, it was a little expensive, but it was like I literally went through there and I would just like rent a game, take it home, try it out. And if I didn't like it within like 30 minutes, I would just take it back and go get a new game. Over and over. I played their entire library at one point. It was pretty cool.
So what was really funny is the town that I lived when I was in college, there was a Blockbuster, there was a Hollywood Video, and they were... it was maybe 200 yards between them. However, smack dab between them was a little family video store. Hollywood and Blockbuster both closed sometime around 2012, 2014. The little mom and pop video store survived until 2021.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man.
And I mean, that's where I always rented my stuff. They had a massive games library. They had every single new release, and it didn't hurt that I knew the owner and did a lot of his PC work for him, and so he'd kick me some rentals sometimes. So
yeah, Skull says I feel like there's a dedicated bunch in Bend that purposely go to that Blockbuster.
I'm sure.
And it's not just that too. It's almost become like a tourist destination now. And they even have like a Netflix like limited series that was like, I don't know if it was like a docu-series or if it was what, but like Kevin Smith was attached to it and a bunch of like big Hollywood names. So it's like, I don't know if they're in any danger. I feel like they did do a little bit of crowdfunding like during COVID, but I don't know. What are you going to do? I remember, like before I had Blockbuster near me in my really rural town, our grocery store was where you got your video rentals, so they had a little corner in the grocery store, which I'm just like, that's like as country boy as you get. Like, go to the grocery store, get your ham and eggs, and rent your, I don't know. For me, it was like Three Ninjas. Or the Ninja Turtles. I rented the Ninja Turtles all the time.
Yeah, I owned the Ninja Turtles, but yeah, Three Ninjas was on the regular rental rotation when I was a kid. It's one of those movies we never bothered buying, but God, we probably spent $50 renting the damn thing.
Probably, right? Yeah. It's funny how that works. And then it's interesting because I think about this a lot now, that there's this whole sort of like brand of like sort of like 80s fantasy nostalgia where you would go to the video stores and there's all of those old movie covers that you would see all the time, and you're like, I wonder what that is,
right?
I remember all the time as a kid going past like the heavy metal animated movie case, and I never watched heavy metal until like I don't know, I was in my mid-20s and I was like, crap, I walked past that like 1,000 times. It was so interesting.
That is one of the I'm gonna put on my old-timey cap. Oh look, it's already here. That is one of the disappointing things about the move to purely digital services, is you don't get a browse anymore. And what I mean by that is you only get presented what's being advertised or what is contractually available at this second. We get onto Netflix and you go, okay, what are the top 20 shows being played? Oh, that's a good movie, I'll watch that. You're not walking through the inner bowels of an old Blockbuster or mom and pop movie rental store and go, what's this movie from 1974 that I've never seen before? Hey, let's pick it up for $1 and give it a whirl. Like, it's not a regular thing that really happens anymore.
Well, not only that, like, it's like you would rent something and you were committed. You would watch it even if it's like kind of ended up being bad. And nowadays with this like kind of at home thing, I see it all the time with my own behavior with games and with movies. It's like I'll spend an hour browsing Netflix to make sure I pick the right movie. Whereas in the pre-streaming days, there's no way I would have spent an hour at Blockbuster. I would have been there for like 20 minutes, picked the thing, like had a couple options in my hand,
Right.
picked the one that looked most interesting and went with it.
Yeah.
I watched more movies back then than I do now, and I have literally everything at my fingertips.
Uh-huh.
Like, and same with games, you know, it's like, man, if I have too many games installed on my Steam library, there's no way I'm playing anything.
Don't talk to me about games, because I actually, and it's become a common trope and even a meme of like, you have so many games and you can't choose anything, and 80% of your Steam library is unplayed.
Yeah.
I really do get a little bit of a overwhelming sense of choice when I get on, like, I'll even have days where it's like, okay, I'm gonna try a game that I've never played before. Streets of Rogue, screw it.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I would rather jump on something and play something I've played 1,000 times or played for 1,000 hours than waste an hour trying to pick, because I will.
Yeah.
And sometimes, man, it's like, sometimes, like, especially like with Morrowind anymore, for example, like I'll just jump on and do vanilla Morrowind, because I used to just sit there and like spend an afternoon optimizing my mods. And then it was like the high of setting it up was gone and I didn't want to play it anymore. It was like, you know, it's like that idea of like having the perfect setup, doing the perfect thing, and then you're like, okay, it's over. You know, it's like it's like
I feel so called out right now. Before 2017, before I started my YouTube channel, I'd play for at least an hour a day. I usually, when my one kid had gone to bed at that time, I'd spend an hour, maybe 90 minutes playing whatever the new hotness was, and that was really enjoyable. I started the YouTube channel, and all of a sudden, all of my free time just kind of melted away, and I didn't have time to play games anymore, because I was now focused on building PCs to play games. Long and short of it is, I went full time and I went, hey, now I'll have time to play games again. But the only games that I play anymore are the games that I'm intimately familiar with, because I don't have the patience to sit down and truly learn a new game the way that I like to. I'm kind of like you. I would rather sink 1,000 hours into Skyrim than 20 into 1,000 other games.
Oh, dude. And if there's like an hour-long tutorial at the start of a game, you're like,
yeah,
I'm toast, dude. There's no way I'm getting through it anymore.
I will go for some of the big, long, drawn-out games, hoping that I get drawn into them. Opening weekend for No Man's Sky, I spent 13 hours in No Man's Sky on the release weekend before I found out it was a mile wide and an inch deep. Now, obviously, it's changed since then, but I already invested 13 hours, and while it was kind of cool and exciting, by the time I hit like my 4th planet, I went like, I've seen everything this game has to offer. Now, I know I could go back. I know I could go back today, and there'd be more to explore. There'd be bases to build and things like that.
Animals to ride, bro.
But I already got, I think, all of the thrills that I'm going to get from that game. I'm sure it sounds great. GTA 5 VR. I actually did do the VR mod for GTA 5 at one point. GTA 5 is a game that I've got over 200 hours in. But you know, anytime a new Bethesda RPG comes out, I'm very much looking forward to Starfield. I'm very much looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom. You know, but I find myself wanting to just invest time in those and learn them and truly master them than I am wanting to play through a campaign of Tomb Raider. Yeah,
that'll be interesting. It's kind of funny, for example, like one game that I probably should have never gotten into was like Kingdom Come Deliverance, just based on like the tutorial alone and like the opening alone. Somehow I made it through that, and now it's like, you know, it's like my current Skyrim. It's like I've got like 500 hours into it or whatever, just because I can pick it up and play without having to go through that again. But another really good example, if anybody's out there familiar with the opening of Metal Gear Solid 5, good lord, like, how did I make it through that? I remember like going through that late at night, sleep deprived, and just laughing like a maniac at the scene where you have to like walk for like 10 minutes while the building is like on fire around you or something. And I was just like, this is so stupid. And then when the game started, it's like open world and like super dope and awesome. And then I'm able to sink as much time and as many hours into it as I want.
Yeah.
But before that, I was like, there's just no way this game was not made for a working adult person.
Yeah, and I do like playing a lot of games simply for the storyline of them. And in fact, for most, I'm gonna out myself a little bit here. For a lot of single player games where I know there's not going to be a lot of replayability, I'll download trainers or mods or cheats or whatever else, and I'll just go invincible with unlimited ammo because I'm just interested in the story. You know, the gameplay's probably fine, but I'm also not going to grind on a single level for 6 hours. Like, I tried playing Elden Ring. I've talked to Rett about this in private, but I've tried playing Elden Ring, and I hate games that simply punish you for the sake of punishing you. That's not really my jam. But Rett also saw me trying to do hot laps in racing games and spending, 45, 50 minutes trying to beat my hot lap on one track. And that's my form of Souls games. I would rather learn a vehicle than learn the animation cycle of a boss, and that's just So,
well, you know what the perfect example is like when we were playing Trackmania at PDX Land, and how you're just doing these tight races over and over and over. They're like 30 seconds, and you're just shaving a tenth of a second off every time. Mm-hmm. You're just trying to perfect the perfect line. Like, I could do that all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know why. There's something that's just so addictive about that.
Yeah.
And Elden Ring has that itch to me because it's irritating to have to go back to where a boss is or a battle is or whatever.
Yeah.
But in Elden Ring, you can die a million times and it doesn't matter. It doesn't really mean anything. It just sets you back to the last spawn point.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, Elden Ring is a game that I don't get a lot of fulfillment out of, and I can't really put my finger on it. It's just like, I am a fan of hack and slash games. I am a fan of action RPGs, and it's like, that should have all the elements for me. But for me, just because of the animation movements that are made that are the boss sequences, it's like playing DDR with an action RPG.
I hear a lot of people say that.
It is very much more about the rhythm and the timing, which, again, rhythm games, totally my jam. But I don't want to have to learn a new song to beat every boss, if you kind of put those meanings all together. I'd rather... Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's one of those games I probably would have never got into, but for some reason I just happened to buy it right at launch. I'd never played a Souls game before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the same thing with like Morrowind, right? Like you jump on all the forums and everybody's talking about, oh, well, I died to mud crabs 1,000 times, or I died to this, or I don't get the game, and blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, I mean, I looked out playing Morrowind at a time where like it wasn't super easy to jump online and figure it out, so I just kind of figured it out.
Right.
And then you have that. It was like the same thing with Elden Ring. Like, I mean, I could have jumped online or whatever, but it reminded me of Morrowind in that way, and which excited me. Yeah. And then it's just so absurd. Like, it's so absurd. Dying all the time. Classic. But yeah. See, and somebody brought up Sekiro, and that's funny because I've heard that one is like actually a rhythm game. I've never played it, but that's a Souls-like that is actually, I guess, much more.
And what's really funny is I don't mind roguelike games. I don't mind permadeath, one run and done, because I feel those are games that I can improve skill on, but they're always throwing something different at me. I get angry with the RPG or action style games when it's the same level, the same boss, but he just beat me in a different way because this animation was slightly tweaked, or this and that. Though that drives me nuts. But you get a roguelike game. A couple of my recent favorite games are roguelike, and or recently discovered to me is Noida and Streets of Rogue, both. I probably put 100 hours into those since the start of the year each, just balling on them because they're random enough that it's a different playthrough, it's a different style every single time, but you still get to kind of learn the mechanics of it, and you figure out how to make your builds better, and what skills you should attribute to, and everything else. And I don't mind that because it's a different way to lose every time, but I don't feel... I was the one who always accused Madden of cheating, of rubber banding games, of like, you know, you score 3 touchdowns in a row and all of a sudden the computer scores 4 touchdowns, and it's like, no, I tackled that guy legit 7 times and he just shed every single one. Are you freaking kidding me? I'd throw the controller, like I was that guy. And I no.
Over Madden. I wish I loved sports games that much.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some sports games I really like, but they're not really any of like the main franchises or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Blood Bowl. What a great game.
Yeah. No.
You know, if
you want to go to the original Blood Bowl, it would be the StarCraft football mod.
Yes, dude, I love the football mod. I played that all the time. Because I had I could play StarCraft on the PC, but I also had StarCraft 64.
Oh wow!
And
You're
it was
one
really
of those
fun.
Unfortunate souls.
Oh, dude, StarCraft 64 was so good. It was the same thing. I had Warcraft 2 on the PlayStation, you know, and I was able to get through the campaigns because it's much more campaign focused.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, the one thing about those roguelikes is really nice is that you also rewarded for progressing and losing.
Right.
Like, you often get things that you can take back and use at the start. Like in Streets of Rogue, you know, you're unlocking characters and different things like that, and
characters, buffs, etc. Risk of Rain 2, or Risk of Rain in general. Yeah.
Risk of Rain is the perfect example. Somebody brought up Hades as the go. I love Hades. I put so much time into that. And yeah, and in fact, kind of Hades is an interesting one because that's kind of how I got into the Souls thing, was like looking for other stuff to play. Got into Hyperlight Drifter, which isn't exactly the same as Hades, but like Hyperlight Drifter just really hooked me, and I was looking for something, and they're like, well, Souls like, and then Elden Ring came out, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. You know, but anyway, point being, roguelikes. You should try something like FTL is really good.
I've heard that one's pretty good. I haven't tried.
Oh,
it's in my library. Again, 80% of games go unplayed.
The Star Trek nerd in you, man, just pretend you're playing, you know, like, because it's so fun in that way. You're moving your little guys in your ship, and you're getting random drops, and it's so good.
Yeah. See, when I was a kid, Descent was my Star Trek nerd feast, because name a good Star Trek game other than like Elite Force. Like, there's not a lot.
No, the best Star Trek games are not actually Star Trek. Like FTL. Like, I remember when I was first learning game dev, I always thought to myself, like, oh man, I would make my ideal Star Trek game. Or like, you know, I always thought of it as Star Trek-esque, but was what is that submarine game? Number 3. Oh my god, I can see it in my mind's eye. But anyway, there's a submarine game.
Yeah.
Where you can assign your crew to different departments on your sub. You have like limited resources, and you go out there and you're hunting down other subs and engaging in battle and trying to be sneaky and clandestine and all this sort of stuff. And like, I was always like, oh, I love this aspect of moving your crew, doing all this stuff. And FTL kind of captures that in a way, but it's much more like it's like you're controlling your ship and the guys within it, and you could be boarded, and you can upgrade your ship with different things, and like, oh, there's a fire, you can vent the fire into the vacuum of space, and you can move your crew to like repair damaged parts of your ship, sacrificing performance of the places that they were manned. Silent Service was like the NES Well, I mean, I guess Silent Service was a PC game, but Jeremy is talking about that. Silent Service is the first Nintendo game I ever played. Really good. But no, it's that dang God, man, and it just came out in like the mid 2000s, like 2005 to 2008 ish.
Oh, right, you're younger than I always think, because there is a submarine game that almost everyone who grew up going to a software etc. will recognize, and it was either Silent Service or Silent Hunter, and it's an old DOS big box game.
Am I thinking of Silent Hunter 3? Yeah, Silent Service. I definitely played that. It was my first Nintendo game.
Yeah, Aces of the Deep is another one.
Or no, Silent Hunter. I think I'm thinking of Silent Hunter 3. Yeah, Silent Hunter 3 is the
there you go.
one that I'm talking about, where I would play Silent Hunter 3 and I was like, this is my Star Trek game. Like so silly, but when you look at it, it's like you have the ability to sort of move your crew to different areas and all of this sort of stuff, and it's much more command oriented than it is like moving your ship.
Right. About the same time that we had Descent and Descent 2, I know we had some Star Trek games. There was the motion picture game, there was 25th Anniversary, there was even Final Unity TNG game, there were some Game Boy games. Like I had a Game Boy Star Trek The Next Generation game, which was just like 7 potential objective goals that you were going out, and it would randomly increase in difficulty, and it was kind of like roguelike, where it was permadeath, but you're trying to rank up, and the difficulty increases as you rank up, but you get no additional skills or buffs or anything like that. But it had all the characters in it, and each one has a station, and you command each station, and it was basically a sequence of mini games that culminated into like a large mission pack. But beyond that, the Star Trek games were like EGA Trek and WinTrek, the Windows shareware games, and there just wasn't a lot to put me into that universe and make me feel like I'm actually piloting something or shooting phasers or anything like that. And then got to play Descent, and it's like I'm home.
Have you ever played Artemis Bridge Simulator?
Have I played Artemis? I just the other day, actually no, this morning it popped up on my timeline, on my photos timeline. The office that I used to have in my old house, the upstairs office. Yeah. At one point, my wife was out of town, and it was just me home for like a 4-day weekend. And so I had a bunch of friends over, but since I was also running a photo business on the side, I also had like a dozen early Core 2 Duo and Core Duo iMacs. And so I set up a crap ton of stations of computers. Yeah. And we played, I think we had 12 people there. And so we flew 3 ships, or no, 4 ships in teams of 3. And had a giant Artemis LAN party.
That is awesome.
The upstairs was designed like the bridge, where I had 2 stations behind me on a stand-up desk. I had a captain's chair in the middle, and then I had 2 stations in the front. And so we did a couple of large bridge playthroughs, and then we did a couple where it's we put helm and engineering on one station, and maybe it was tactical and engineering in one station, and then helm and communications in one station. And then the captain was kind of his own, and captain also doubled for science for sensors. So we did some 3-man Artemis ships.
That sounds great.
It was a good time.
Man, that game was so great. That's about the closest to the Star Trek experience I've had, but
we need to get that going at PDX LAN in November.
Oh, dude, I would be so down for that. Yeah, I bet there'd be a lot of folks interested in that.
I bet there would be. That would be too much fun.
Yeah. I've always thought that would be a fun one to do with John and Steve too,
One thing I thought about with John and Steve was getting together and playing Bridge Commander.
Yeah.
in VR
Yeah.
with all 4 of us.
Oh, there you
Because they're
go.
supposed
That'd
to
be
be
fun.
4-man teams.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun.
And it's not like I don't have headsets around here.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's always been something on my list of like we should get the gang together and you know pretend we're in Star Trek for a couple hours.
Great.
Yeah, I'm down. You know what else is awesome and down and you should be down for? Today's sponsor, Linode. Hosting your own servers also means you get to host all your own problems. And even the most skilled network engineer will tell you you should decentralize your network. So why not host your services with Linode? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes software for most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad blocking, recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex servers, and more. They offer shared CPU plans for as little as $5 per month and can scale as high as your needs go, whether it be virtualized hosting, dedicated enterprise GPUs, NVMe block storage, and even more. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep it backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode is also expanding at light speed, with 12 new global data centers planned before the end of 2023. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. Again, that's linode.com/craftcomputing, and again, a huge thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
Thanks, Linode. Thank you, Linode. You know what else you guys can do to support us? Go use that sweet Linode link, but also go to patreon.com/craftcomputing.
Yep.
Or keep your eye on announcements, and in a couple weeks, get your booty on over to craftcomputing.store, which, you know, some folks might not realize is going to be brand new with sweet things like that bottle opener Jeff was just holding. And, ooh, look at that coaster.
Yeah?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Beautifully laser engraved in-house on clean black slate.
See, I got the logo one here.
Ooh,
I think
yeah.
I think my flasks are over there, so I'll have to show those off another time. But I've been teasing this for a little while. But yeah, May 1st, we're launching a new craftcomputing.store. One of the biggest things with it is I'm bringing it 100% in-house. I am literally producing my own merchandise, and we're going to be shipping it direct from me. There's no more drop shipping. There's no more prices should be a lot lower. Shipping should be a lot faster.
Yeah.
And the items are going to be a lot more diverse. We're going to do glassware, barware, hip flasks, bottle openers, t-shirts. Like, it's going to be a whole thing. So, and
you know,
there's an even bigger announcement coming probably around that same time of something I'm trying to get done this year, but I'm going to need a little help with. So, stay tuned.
One thing too, we super appreciate everybody who's bought merch on our old merch store.
Yes.
That's super awesome, especially because, like, we sort of recognize the prices weren't exactly the most competitive in the you know, YouTube merchandiser scene.
Yeah.
But it did help us out, so thank you for doing that. But you know, keep your eye out for more offerings, hopefully cheaper offerings, all that sort of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, cheaper offerings and better quality and more diversity in a lot of the items. Like I said, I'm trying to start creating items that I would stock my home bar with, and that's kind of like my first goal. So,
and one thing, and I'll leave it at this, but one thing is, like, you know, the items are going to be cheaper, but more is going to help us.
Right.
So that's like a key thing as well. So
yes.
That's the biggest part.
Big
more
announcement
financial
is definitely
support.
Toasters. No, with me it'd be air fryers. I am an air fryer junkie. Once you go toaster oven, you don't go back to toasters. And once you go like large countertop flatbed air fryer, you don't go back to toaster ovens. I have a combination toaster oven air fryer, and it's the best thing I've ever bought.
You got to do it like the Cards Against Humanity people did, and sell them a big old bag of bull crap. And then they get their shipment and they're like, wait, it's literally a bag of actual bull feces. And they're like, yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
We weren't lying.
Will the new store offer craft computing banana hammocks? I wouldn't exclude anything at this point. Laser engraved air fryer is acceptable. Part of having my own laser engraver and manufacturing equipment and whatnot is I can take custom orders. You want a laser engraved air fryer with my logo on it? You'll get a craft computing air fryer. Like, I can make that happen. Don't think I can't. Air fryer, you mean little convection oven. You know goddamn well what I mean.
It is basically a little convection oven.
Yep. Bigger, blacker toaster? Air fryer, easy bake ovens for adults. Well, yeah, but they also make pizza rolls. Craft inside logo on the shipping boxes when? It all depends on if... I mean, honestly, I have the laser engraver, so branding my own boxes wouldn't be that big of a deal, but at the same time, do I want to spend my money on branding my boxes?
Maybe for special boxes,
right.
Special orders.
Right.
Like when we do another limited run or something,
Yeah. We did a limited run of water bottles, and by the way, I'm hoping to literally finish etching those bottles this weekend. And so international invoices and shipments should be happening very soon, as well as the remainder of our US shipments. We're hoping to get everything cleared up probably by next Friday, maybe I would say by the end of April. So about the time the new store launches. So just in time for you to spend more money with us.
Hopefully you got your tax refunds by then.
There you go. Oh, one of the other items that I recently added to my repertoire, whiskey stones. Whiskey stones coming to the craft computing store. Yes.
You got those in hand's reach?
Yes.
They look pretty cool. Take my word for it. Okay, he's going to go get it. These look pretty cool. I was kind of surprised. Like, somebody jokingly mentioned it, and Jeff went out and sourced them and, and engraved them. They look pretty sweet. So.
They were just on the other side of the room. Hold on. There we go. So, come in a little case like that. But they've got the craft computing logo etched into them on two sides. So, and these are not inexpensive whiskey stones. These are 2 mil stainless steel, and they're filled with a 35% glycerin mix. And so they're actually good quality whiskey stones, like something I'm planning on using myself, because so often you get really inexpensive barware and you get whiskey stones, but they have no thermal density to them, and so they do nothing but make your water taste slightly like metal or pumice, and these are not inexpensive. So
will we get a tour of Rett's house, LTT style? Catch him bringing home stuff from the office? It's all right here on my one shelf.
Right. That depends. Is Intel and or AMD going to do an extreme tech makeover? Because,
yeah,
based on sub count, like I think we should expect the same amount percentage wise. So yeah, I'll do a $30 tech makeover of Rett's office.
Whatever we do, is it possible we can direct some of the heat to my pool? Eh?
Based on what I know about your pool, we probably shouldn't. Craft computing whiskey stones that double as D6s. I actually did consider etching some of them as D6s.
Oh, yeah, that'd be dope, dude. Oh man,
why don't I just make dice? Like,
I was gonna say some dice would be pretty dope.
It's not
Arby's has their own dice.
Right.
Arby's has their own dice. That's one of our shorts tonight, guys.
Right. But yeah, maybe
not even kidding.
Maybe we'll have to talk about that. Anyway, before we move on to the next story, I'm going to use my trusty brand new Craft Computing bottle opener, which you'll be able to buy soon, craftcomputing.store. And these are actually going to be very affordable. Nice oak handled bottle opener. I'm going to crack open from Machine House Brewery their English style oatmeal stout ale, a full-bodied stout with roasted barley and oats. Bottle conditioned, open fermented, so this is an active yeast English style ale / stout. 6.2%. So there you go. Machine House Brewery.
Looks dope.
In order to leave behind the live yeast at the base of the bottle, store upright and then carefully pour into a 20-ounce glass in one smooth motion. So it has been sitting upright since the show began. So you'll forgive me if I'm just going to kind of focus on the pour here for a couple seconds. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and intro our next story, and that is Microsoft was caught experimenting with a handheld mode to bring to Windows 11.
Yeah, this is perfect. They specifically cite Steam Deck-like devices, right? Which we all know as handheld gaming PCs.
Right.
Something like the Neo Next, which runs Windows.
Yeah.
A handheld mode like this probably goes a long ways towards the viability of a product like that. Which, given how much time, or this one, the Mech DIY. Mech DIY?
No, this one's not DIY. We'll talk about that one later. It was the closest handheld I had within reach of like the 15 that are in this room.
And you got more on the way.
Yes.
I just got some emails today and I was like, oh wow. We put in a lot of emails for, well, we didn't, but they reach out to us. I'm like, yes, no, yes, no. And then months go by and they all start pouring in. It's like, uh-oh.
It's like a Roman orgy. It's yes.
It's like that episode of
not yes, not yes.
Who is that, Jeff? Is that somebody?
History of the World, Part 1.
Oh, yeah, I don't like Mel Brooks.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he's not funny.
Oof. Them's fighting words.
Couldn't even say it straight face.
I know you couldn't. I know your BS answer at this point.
I was gonna say it's like that episode of Parks and Rec when all of those people show up for a meeting with Ron Swanson, and April's like, you know how you tell me whenever people want a meeting to make sure it never happens? Yeah. Well, I always schedule them for March 31st.
Because I didn't think it existed.
Why? Exactly. Yeah.
How many meetings do I have today? 432.
Such a great episode.
Rett says yes, episode 1. Handhelds everywhere.
Yeah. Well, here's a handheld. I don't like the look of it, so it goes in the trash pile. Here's another handheld.
Anyway, obviously, since the Steam Deck came out, and even niche and boutique developers before that had been experimenting with Windows handhelds. Obviously, we've got companies like GPD, Neo, 1X Player, and the like that had been pushing the form factor for quite some time. Well, as it turns out, Microsoft, in an internal hackathon, kind of gave us a glimpse of their internal developers' ideas at what Windows on a mobile handheld should look like. And the ideas are not that terrible. There's things like a customized game launcher. Let me see if I've got an image of that here. Sorry, it's just in a YouTube video. Or were there pictures further down? There we go. So they had a games launcher.
That looks nice.
Yeah, nice and sleek.
Sable and Elden Ring. What, are they looking at my Steam library?
Right. Well, obviously all of these are things on the Xbox store. So
I do now see that the Xbox logo is highlighted.
Right. Now that to their credit, they included basically everything else that you might want. You know, there's Steam, there's Epic,
Edge.
Edge, right? Got to get your browser in there.
Hey, Edge lets you draw on PDFs right there in the browser. It's glorious.
I mean, that's not a bad feature to have.
It's so great. I've actually been using Edge a lot for that. It's so nice. Marking up PDFs. I used it to sign paperwork the other day.
I know. That was awesome.
It was awesome. I just moved it over to the touch screen because there was anyway, whole thing. It was great.
Yeah.
It was like living in the future, Jeff.
Yeah. Googly says, Jeff, are you going to get an Asus Ally if it happens? I will definitely reach out to Asus and see if they'll send one over. I don't know that at this point I'm going to spend money on another handheld. My handheld videos, they definitely fill their niche on my channel. Like there's a core audience that I kind of broadcast to with that type of content, but it's not general. It's not my general audience that eats that up. And so those videos are kind of hard to do. Like, I don't want to do too many of them, but at the same time, it's a subject that very much interests me. And I don't mind varying the content on my channel. In fact, I was talking to a number of other YouTubers a couple of weeks ago about what do you do to appease the algorithm and you know, and make sure you don't get stuck in a niche at the same time. And I've talked about this, and maybe partially to the detriment of short-term success, but the whole idea of my channel was I always wanted long-term success. And if I wanted to, I could have probably just been the wish.com buying weird crap guy. I could have just been the Chinese X79 guy. I could have just been the VR headset guy. I could have just been the Linux gamer. I could have just been a lot of different things. Like, I've explored a lot of different niches. One of my most popular niches was going into like Windows development or Windows deployment and Active Directory administration and things like that, which is something I used to do for a day job. And when you have trainers and people who run classes reaching out to you and going, holy crap, this is the best explanation of this service that I've ever seen. Like, I could have made a full career out of just writing content for those things. But I want this channel to be an enthusiast community that is both generally appreciated as well as has its own niches that it explores. And so sometimes when I find a video subject that explodes really well, I'll lean into it for a couple of videos, but then I'll purposely pivot away from it for a month or two, and then I'll come back to it. And it's an area that I can come back to and kind of dip my toe back in the water and go like, here's where that industry is at right now. Okay, let's move on to where's a VR headset at right now? Hey, where's this thing at? Because I have all kinds of different interests, whether it's augmented reality or, you know, big screen headsets that you slap to your face, whether it's handheld gaming devices, whether it's servers and switches or Chinese AliExpress gear or whatever the case may be. And so part of building that audience is making sure you deliver all of that type of content, even if it doesn't get all the clicks all the time.
You know, that's what's so great about our first like head-mounted display video. It's just like it really resonated with a lot of people. And so I thought, man, this is like a really fun, cool niche that we can explore. And like we recently did another Nreal video. Didn't do quite as well as I hoped, but like hit the Nreal crowd.
Yeah.
For sure. It hit the people that wanted to hear it. And then we did another one about this awful headset. Maybe you guys have seen it. If not, it's one of the last videos that we published. I thought for sure people would get a kick out of this, and like, you know, nobody really didn't quite gain the traction. I'm thinking
worst
number
video
one,
posted all year.
number one.
But
when was the last time? Yeah, when was the last time you watched a video about a product that just says it sucks right in the description? You know, like right in the title. But that's what it is. Like, I just want people to know how awful it is. These products are out there, you know.
Yeah.
And especially like, you know, have people that are into head-mounted displays. You know, I thought, hey, maybe they find this funny, but who knows? I think it'll find more traction when maybe more people get their hands on it. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, this is one of those videos that could be a long burn. Especially their Kickstarter just launched. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's the X-Plo C1. If you
HD definition esports immersive display VR,
but not VR.
Yeah.
Whether you know what we're talking about or not, do not go spend your money on this. Holy crap, I have not reviewed a larger piece of garbage probably in the entirety of my channel existing. There's very few things that compete with my level of disdain and hatred for that device. And not because the company was shady AF in their whole review sampling process with me. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, we saw you did reviews on some other headsets. Would you like to review our headset?" And I said, "Of course, send one over, and I'd be happy to take a look." I'm always like anxious to see where technology is at as far as, you know, short field displays and things like that. And so we received the review unit, and they said, "First off, our expectations are that you don't post anything negative about it." And I went, "You didn't understand what review meant."
Well, see, and what's funny is we kind of got to the point where we're filming the video, and I was like showing that to Jeff like live on the air, but what was in, like, to me, I'm reading this email and I'm like, it's not unusual that occasionally there's a language thing where they say something like that and you go, "Well, that's not what we do, and just to be clear that we're on the same page," and they go, "Yeah, of course that's not what we meant, whatever, blah blah blah," you move on. Like, language, there is a language barrier. There is like a
there's language and there's culture barriers that we deal with quite often, where in Western media, in Europe, UK, you know, US, Australia, getting a product for no charge is even still seen as partially biased, because it's like, well, I want one of those products. To me, the products that come in, they're just parts. They represent work to me. Yes, sometimes I get to play with the latest and greatest graphics cards, or, you know, Xeon W processors or whatever else. They have very little real world value to me. I can't sell them. They're on permanent loan, essentially. They're not my products. They're not my parts. Yes, I get to use them around here, and there is kind of a fringe benefit of like, hey, if I need to build a new PC for this particular purpose in my workshop or here in my office or whatever, I've got parts on the shelf. I can go throw one together. But I would have built a PC anyway with whatever parts I had laying around. So it's like, just because I have better parts available now doesn't mean I'm inherently going to give the product good reviews. I've received a number of products that I've given terrible reviews to. But in Eastern media, it is quite common for companies to pay for reviews to happen. And in fact, with a lot of journalistic circles in the past, with magazines and newspapers, when we would write tech articles for that, those would be paid for reviews. And there was no bias inherent to it, whether because it was not independent journalism, it was a large corporation making money for a review and then paying a journalist to write a review of said product and whatnot. And so maybe it's because there was a layer of separation, but you can give me all the money in the world and I'll still tell you to your face that your product's a piece of crap. And maybe I'm alone in having that integrity. But yeah,
it's kind of interesting. Definitely had quite a few people that we've worked with where it's like, we got to reiterate with them, like, hey, like, if this is what we're doing, like, you don't get input, you don't get editorial say. Right. Okay, absolutely, we understand. You know, and these guys, they kind of said this and I was like laughing about it, and I was like, I emailed them and they never responded or said anything, you know. And this was sort of before we had even bothered trying the device, really.
Well, I had been trying the device for a couple of weeks. I brought it with me to PDX LAN. And I tried it out a couple of times previous to that, and could game on it for like 20 minutes, but it was literally headache inducing.
Well, and I sort of remember there, like, at least when I looked at it, it was one of these things where it was like, well, maybe it's user error. maybe I'll figure this out when I really sit down.
Right.
And
I kind of had that same thought the first couple of times that I sat down with it. I'm trying to play games and whatnot. It's like, I can't get the diopter adjusted right. Or like, it's in focus here, but it's not in focus here. And I feel like I'm going cross-eyed in some parts of this. And even when the diopter is set right, like part of the image is like overlaid with each other. But this part's still blurry, but this part's like kind of sharp and whatnot. And I'm like, maybe I'm just doing it wrong. And then after fiddling with it for like probably 2 to 3 hours in total, no, I'm not doing it wrong. There's nothing you can do right.
I remember the final nail in the coffin as we were sitting there fiddling with it. We're writing up the script, we're doing all this, and I was like, Jeff, you're not gonna believe what the price on this thing is. Like, we ought to just roll the camera. We ought to do this. There's no way I can tell you, And so we started firing up the camera and just rolled with the video. And because the price was insane. And
it was four times what I thought it would be in the worst case scenario.
There's no way that you could see what they're actually asking for it and think that it's not a scam.
Right.
So
I'm amazed that they even, number one, produced an item, let alone accidentally sent us 2 of them. We did receive 2 of those. I believe they're aware of the video, but they haven't contacted us about it yet.
Yeah, I didn't even know what to say to them about it. It's just like,
the review is live now. Thanks.
By the way, good luck. Mm-hmm. Feel free to send us more products.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was weird when they reached out and I was like, well, you're this kind of company trying to do this type of thing. And I thought, well, again, I thought it was a cultural divide.
Mm-hmm.
There is this whole sort of like manufacturing and sort of industrial culture in China that, it's like I'm only aware of via email,
Right.
And so I thought, okay, I don't know, this is their thing. They know what they're doing. They're bringing this product to market. There's
a lot of these upstart type companies, not only in China but kind of around the world, that manufacturing and accessibility of these fine detail parts, or the ability to manufacture your own. This wasn't necessarily esoteric or new world or vaporware hardware. This was a couple of, pretty nice, very fine detail OLED screens, and probably some optics that you can, pair with a number of virtual reality headsets, because, cell phone based virtual reality, as well as, Oculus Quest and things like that, those have been readily available for, probably 7 years now. And there are markets and manufacturers that will make you equipment to your specifications for those types of units. And so there's a lot of these, like, what 15 years ago would have been pipe dream type products coming out. That all of a sudden, if you build the Legos properly, you end up with either a smash success, or in the case of the Explo C1, you end up with the epitome of why those products shouldn't exist.
And I think you said it really good on the video itself for the Explo C1. You said, like, my bread and butter for this channel is Chinese manufactured stuff.
Correct.
Like, that's where we started. That's home base.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not unusual to deal with this type of stuff, but it is unusual to get something that is just absolute hot pile of steaming garbage.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it was a really fun video to put together for you guys. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out, please. I don't like seeing the viewer count on it so low.
Let's see. Janos wants to know, Craft Computing, what's the max teraflops you can fit in a cubic meter? It's definitely going to be that 80100 8 by GPU that NVIDIA released not too long ago for Enterprise, that comes on literally a cookie sheet. And you cram enough of those into a cubic meter, that's your answer.
There we go. There we go.
Adam, hey, first time watching live. I'm in LA for work instead of UK. Well, welcome.
Nice.
Yeah, normally it'd be like 4 a.m. for you. So, I mean, you could crack a beer. I just wouldn't recommend it.
City of Angels in LA. Hey, you're at the same time as us.
Yeah,
hey,
West
good
Coast.
job.
West Coast, Best Coast. All right.
It is. It is. It's
Yeah.
the one true time. That's what we call it in my game dev Discord.
The one true time. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll be in LA in about a month. So.
Yeah, rub it in, Jeff.
Wink. Rett had to pass on a free trip to LA, and he's kind of bummed about it.
A little, kind of bummed about it is putting it very generously.
Yeah, there's going to be a big announcement coming up on something that I'm going to be involved with, and I could not be more excited for this. But yeah, I'm going to be in LA in May for 5 days, 4 nights, and as it turns out, Steve will be joining me. El Polo Diablo will be joining me down there. So,
heck yeah,
that should be fun.
If I had to pick a number 2 to replace me, it'd be Steve.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
Kefka says Midwest Best Coast.
Okay.
I hate to tell you, not only did that not rhyme, but
it's that lack of fresh sea air, Jeff. It's really getting to him.
Elma sends over $5. Expo C1, best non-VR headset review ever from your token guy.
Heck yeah.
That goes into so many different conversations, none of which we can have on this show right now, but I'll talk to you in the after party.
We can have them, Jeff. Let's do it. No.
And now everyone's chiming in with where they're from. Jesper says hi from Denmark. Hello from Denmark.
Hey.
Allison says hi from the UK. So Adam, what's your excuse? Allison's in the UK and she's watching live.
Yeah.
Where the hell are you at?
Ooh, greetings from the Caribbean.
I had to sleep.
Dang, dude, they got internet in the Caribbean. That's nuts. No.
Yeah. Thought it was all pirates down there.
Yeah, for sure. I seen the Disney movie.
Steven says first time live too, drinking a Voodoo Ranger. Nice. I do like a good Voodoo Ranger. Let's see. Kefka, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan.
Hey.
All right.
Nice.
Well, that's certainly a beach.
No, it is.
Ashley says Central Time can do the best rhymes.
Hey,
no, West Coast,
one.
West Coast.
Central Time best rhyme. That's pretty good though.
Yeah,
Ashley.
Central Time best rhyme.
I'm right there.
Your syntax is off though. Central Time best rhyme. Best in rhyme?
No. Central Time best bustin' rhymes. There we go.
Central Time bustin' rhymes. There you go.
Mm.
Yeah, you got that whole Louisiana vibe going in there now. So
what can I say? You know.
Mijik says greetings from Newcastle, Australia. We got Steven.
Oh no, sorry, we don't deal with Australians. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I gotta turn my camera around. Hold on.
G'day, mate. Yeah, we're upside down.
Steven says DFW, Texas. Welcome from Dallas, Fort Worth. Well, is it Dallas or is it Fort Worth?
The Dallas-Fort Worth area.
And I mean, as much offense as I possibly can, but Dallas/Arlington is probably one of the worst places I've ever been in my life. Second only to Phoenix, Arizona.
It's almost like there reaches a certain point in the latitude that one just shouldn't cross.
Right,
you know?
Right. We're on the 45th parallel. I call that good.
That's the best parallel.
It totally is. Novella Hub says, hello from your mom's house. Tell her I said what's up.
Oh, hey, dude. Your mom, dude. What up?
East Coast Feast Boast. Matt says, greetings from another NSW Aussie, so New South Wales. Awesome.
Wow, you had that locked and loaded, dude. Is that why you read the whole thing? Because you had to remember what NSW meant?
No.
We got too many Aussies watching. That's why you knew what NSW was.
Yeah, no, I already knew NSW was New South Wales. Let's see, we've got John Z, also from the UK. See, like, Adam, you've got no excuses left. Like, you got to start joining at 3 in the morning. If I can get Ian Cuttress in chat at like 3 and 4 in the morning from the UK, you can join too. Like, come on. The fact that I know it's 4 in the morning means that I know there's people in the UK watching. Harley says East Coast of Iowa. I don't know if that works.
No, it works. It works. Hey, we're okay. We're okay with Iowans in this.
At least you have enough
video.
separation between you and Ohio that it's still like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Iowans are okay in my book. We got Iowan representing on the mod team and everything, so it's cool. You know, we're with it. Iowa's cool.
Jeremy's from the Compton of the Pacific Northwest. Ooh, that's a lot of guesses right there. Compton of the Pacific Northwest. Compton.
Or is there just a place called Compton in the Pacific Northwest?
SeaTac?
Olympia?
Olympia's a good one.
Or is there just a city named Compton and we're just idiots?
Oh, no. It's probably just Vancouver. It's probably Vancouver, Washington. Otherwise known as Little Portland.
That is probably the Compton.
It's probably...
No, Vancouver's pretty charming, though, actually.
So's Compton in the right light.
Tacoma's a good guess. I feel like it's Olympia, though. Or no, it's... what's that other one? Starts with an F. There on the I-5 corridor.
F. See, I know of, like, Kelso. I know of...
Dang it, what is that place called?
Jeremy says Tacoma. All right.
Okay. You got it with the first guess. I mean, you said SeaTac, so that's like
SeaTac,
Federal Way.
SeaTac is very different from either Seattle or Tacoma. Okay.
Surin backed me up with the place I was looking for, which was Federal Way. Yeah.
Sweet ass dude says Melbourne Aus, but not an Aussie. We won't hold that against you. Corey says greetings from Canada.
I like this. We're like traveling the world
awesome.
right now.
This is so much fun. Remy says from Chicago, where I got my water bottle. Yes.
Hey.
They do exist.
What up?
Tech Guy says Michigan, where the dragon's milk flows. Yes. Love me some New Holland.
Yeah, it does. North of the 49 is better? I don't know, man. Is it, though?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. What do I know?
Yeah. Ziggo says, Jeff, you're on my projector above my monitors right now. You look like Zordon from Power Rangers. Don't give me that kind of power, man. I I can screw with you in some pretty awesome ways, okay?
Hey, one other defense I want to give to the person who's talking about Iowa. You know what else is great about Iowa? It's the birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk, okay?
That's true.
So...
That's true. Yeah.
Look.
You got that going for you, so...
I'm an Oregonian through and through. I'm so sorry. There's just not a better state. But...
I've been to a lot of them, and I tend to agree. So
I've been to a lot of them. Yep. And Oregon is still the best.
Yep. I mean, we're not without our problems.
I mean, who isn't, though?
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry. Look around you. Read the news. Everybody's got problems. But I'd rather have our problems. You know what I'm saying?
Don't go east of Bend. Or west of I-5.
At least not after sundown, am I right?
Don't go sundown? 5 miles left of I-5 or 5 miles right of I-5, and you're gonna be just fine.
But that's where all the crime is, Jeff, in the I-5 corridor. I hear that's where...
Yeah, but not the violent crime. We took a dark turn somewhere.
We can keep going if you want. Look, I know what makes Oregon great, and that's because I know all of the bad things about it, too.
Right. Allison says, Iowa, birthplace of a lot of people who wanted to get as far away from Iowa as possible. Yes.
Dude, is that why they made Kirk from Iowa? They're like, give this guy a warp drive. Does any Iowan identify with Kirk? That's what I want to know. Do any of you are just like, yes, that man embodies our state virtues?
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
There's a yeah, it's one thing I think about sometimes, like, it's
what I will say is, can I just say I prefer 2009 Kirk to 1968 Kirk? Is that blasphemous?
Number one, Chris Pine is like one of the most charismatic MFers ever.
I'm not even saying like Chris Pine. What I'm saying is like the kid in Iowa who was on the speeder bike who who stole his dad's vintage Corvette and threw it off a cliff, which apparently they have in Iowa now.
No, they do. I mentioned this to Skull once, and he said, "Yeah, we do."
Yeah, but yeah, threw the Corvette off a cliff and hung on the side and picked it up. And what is your name, citizen? My name is James T. Kirk. James Tiberius
By the way,
Kirk.
You're dunking on that scene. You almost sound like you're dunking on it. You dunking on this?
No, I love that scene. Yeah. I unapologetically love that scene. You know when I'm BSing, this is not my BSing voice.
Yeah, dude. And you got Sabotage playing in the background, dude. Like, come on. It doesn't get better than that.
The only way it gets better is if instead of Sabotage, they're playing License to Ill. I mean, seriously. I understand you played Sabotage when they're riding the wave in the last one, but man, License to Ill should have been the soundtrack that was playing right there.
I don't know, man. It's just because it's got that groove, you know. It's that groove.
Yeah,
it's not the lyrical content.
Yeah, but I wasn't necessarily talking lyrics with License to Ill either.
Fair enough. Skull says, I can't say I've met another Iowan that channels James T. Kirk. So just Skull then. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, just Skull. Just Skull.
To be honest, I only know one Iowan, and it's Skull.
Yeah, actually, like thumbing through my internal Rolodex here, yeah, I don't know that Iowa's ever come up in any other conversation.
For some reason, I do feel a connection to Iowa because one time Skull was talking about a wedding that he had to attend, and I spent like 2 hours looking at Google Maps. Don't ask me why. I have no idea why. I just did. I was like, it was one of the after parties that I joined, and everybody's talking, having a great time, and I'm like, I have to understand the roads of Iowa. First of all, I was surprised by how green it is in Google Maps. I was like, okay, I thought that was just Oregon.
What I will say is if Iowa is anything like Kansas, is anything like Nebraska, is anything like literally the region that you live in, Rett. Forgot your name for a second. Rett. It's quarter-mile farmland, hairpin turn, quarter-mile farmland, hairpin turn, quarter-mile farmland. Like
where I live, it's quarter-mile farmland and then the mountains.
Yeah,
the Cascades.
The problem with where Rett lives isn't that it's grid farmland because you have like the 20-acre patches and whatnot.
Yeah.
The problem is it's offset grid farmland, and so it is a square here. And a square here, and then another square here, and then another square here, and the road does this in between them. And it's
that's what makes it fun.
But it is what makes it fun, and they bank those corners so well.
Then not only that, you go the other direction, and it's like that, but uphill until you're like thousands of feet above sea level, and then you're like in the mountains. You got like the sweetest...
One of my favorite roads happens to be one of the ones that parallels 99 going north out of Salem. It's like 2 miles in from 99. And it does this whole like corkscrew weaving up hills, down hills and thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so good.
There's a lot of great roads out there, like more in the Brooks area and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially God, what is that one road? It's like 40 something.
It starts at 49th in Salem.
Yeah, 49th.
Yeah,
that's
49th.
Exactly it. That's the exact one I was thinking of.
You go north on 49th and it becomes farmland, but it's this.
But
one
it's dope.
Instead of just being like the quarter-mile straight shot and then like the weird 3-way intersection stop sign, like this side can go, but this side has to stop. It does like these corkscrew turns down through the valleys of it. It's like, it's so good.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, that's actually out where I got married. Yeah, I got married out there.
Nice.
In a big old cornfield.
I also did an Oregon outdoor wedding, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're from Oregon, you get married sometime in the 6 months where it's not frozen. Like
Right.
you're like, well, I want to be outside.
Well, there's a chance the sun could come out today, so of course we're going to say our vows outside.
I got married in August, Jeff, and it did rain on my wedding day.
I got married in June in Canby, and it rained for the first 6 hours of my wedding day. Our wedding was at 2. The sun didn't come out till 11. Now, I will say, from 11 a.m. through the wedding was gorgeous. And we took a road trip for our honeymoon. We just went like, let's just road trip Oregon. Let's just start driving south, drive as far south as we can, go into California, and then let's come back up 101. And let's just drive the entire length of 101. So that's what we did for our honeymoon. It was a absolutely amazing time. We literally didn't see a single cloud. I'm not saying like no rain. I'm saying I never saw a cloud the entire time we were gone on our honeymoon. It was amazing. Like, it was blue sky and perfect weather the entire time. It was like 78, 82, somewhere right in there, everywhere we went. We went Crater Lake. We drove through the Redwoods. We went to Gold Beach. We got ice cream at Tillamook. We did like...
You guys did a whole thing.
Yeah, we did the whole thing, right. It was so great.
I drove to Canada and went and saw some whales, had tea, like did tea time in Canada. That was cool.
We did a bed and breakfast in Astoria and went to Shakespeare Fest down there and caught 3 plays, I think.
You're talking about Ashland.
Or Ashland, excuse me, Ashland. Sorry, southern tip of Oregon. Yeah, we did Shakespeare Festival down in Ashland, and we caught 3 plays in 2 days. And
hell yeah.
Midsummer Night's Dream.
It's one of the best Shakespeare, dog.
Twelfth Night, which is my favorite Shakespeare play. And something else. There was one other that was playing, and I know we saw it. I don't remember it.
I got all of Shakespeare
nice,
right over here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I pulled that down. I've got every Shakespeare play
No, actually, on my bookshelf over there, I think I have a 12th Night book. So yeah. But yeah, so we did like everything that Oregon has to offer, and like not Eugene and Portland, that you could possibly go do. And so we drove through the mountains. We saw Crater Lake. We drove through the Redwoods in California. We stayed in a yurt in like Southern Oregon. We saw Shakespeare plays.
That sounds
we did
fun.
Tillamook. We did the Gold Beach, 3 Rocks. We did what was really funny is I'm getting into some esoteric in Oregon, but we do that from time to time on this show.
Look, we already talked about Iowa. Okay,
where
let's
the
get to Oregon.
River hits the sea. Okay, where the Rogue River meets the Pacific Ocean, there is this enormous collection of rocks, like 200-foot tall rocks that are just out at sea. The viewing point road that drives down to the beach that you can look at them from was completely washed out. But I was driving a 1998 Chevy Tracker at the time, so we loaded like all of our stuff into the back, and it was a little 2-door 4-wheel drive, super lightweight vehicle, and we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden it's like washed out, and like the pavement was like caved in, and it's like, 2-foot raises and everything, and I'm like, do you want to go down there? And she goes, can we? And I said, there's no close sign, and I could probably throw it in 4-wheel low and we'll be just fine. And she goes, yeah, if you think we can make it down there. And so we granny crawled all the way down like this 2-mile road down to the beach, and we had dinner there on the beach. It was awesome because we were the only people there.
That sounds fun. I will say we went to Canada for our honeymoon, and that was the first and last time I ever left the country without a way to like use my cell phone.
Yeah.
So we got there and it was like no navigation, no calling, no texting, no nothing. We did everything with a paper map.
We also did everything with a paper map because this was 6.
You only got married a few years before.
How many years have you been married?
This will be my 10th year married this summer.
Oh, that's cute.
Sorry, Jeff. Not everybody was born in the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
This will be my 17th year married.
I've almost been dating that long.
Jeremy says Chevy Tracker equals Geo Tracker equals Suzuki Samurai. Yes, they are all the exact same engine, transmission, drivetrain, everything. There's a couple minor differences with interior, but beyond that, they're all the same vehicle. Suzuki and Chevy basically formed Geo to bring some of those Euro cars to the US. The Tracker being one of them, all of the Samurai. And I had the only year that was based on the Suzuki Samurai Geo Tracker body, but had Chevy branding. So it was a 100% Chevy vehicle. There was no Geo signs on it. It was all Chevy bow tie. And the very next year, Chevy came out with the reimagined Chevy Tracker, which was the much more modern-looking SUV, which was still a nice vehicle. And in fact, I test drove one quite a few years later, thinking about buying one. But yeah, I had the crossover model that was still technically the Geo Tracker, but all Chevy branding.
Fun.
Born in the 80s, Clippy says, would you like some help getting off my lawn?
I know Jeff
Allison.
always acts.
Ow.
Jeff always acts like he's so much older than me, but he's only 4 years older than me.
I know.
And in reality, you only been married that much more longer than me because you got married that much sooner out of high school than I did.
I did, yeah.
I got married young, but I think Jeff got me beat on that one.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
My math is right.
Yes, I have you well and truly beat on that one.
But I also married my high school sweetheart, so...
So did I.
We just dated longer.
When did you start dating?
When I was 17. So 2007, 8.
You haven't been together longer.
I never said that. Yeah, naturally, you got 4 years on me, Jeff. You were born 4 years before me.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm. You always act like you're so ancient and wise, but you got 4 years. That's it.
Who was walking with a cane this week?
I threw out my back.
Yeah, and I walked to work like a real man when I did it. Down both flights of stairs.
Dude, mine was bad. Mine was really bad. I literally showed up with a cane to Jeff's house. I talked to my doctor. He's like, "Hey, you better, you might get a cane when you're picking up your meds." I was like, I got one.
Novella Hub says, hold my beer, 23 years in June. That's freaking awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, we are 17 years in June. Me and my wife. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a good ride. It's been great. I'm not even going to make the tired old joke of, yeah, we've been married 17 years, 7 of them happily. No, like, my wife is awesome. Like, I love my wife to death, and every day is freaking amazing with her. So even the days that aren't are still freaking amazing. So
okay, but can you say it like nobody's holding a gun to your head? Jeez. No, okay. Something wrong with your eyes?
Yeah. Yeah, let me just blink.
What was that?
Let me just blink SOS to the camera real quick. Jacob said he had the crossover in a soft top. It was a fun toy. I had hardtop for mine, and I loved it. It was the 2-door, but with the purpose-built hardtop, and the top tonneau cover hardtop thing. You could take that off at any point and put it behind the 2 front seats, and take the top off anytime you wanted. The rear. The whole rear hatch, I could still take off by myself. The whole thing only weighed like 90 pounds. and was very easy to install, uninstall. And so basically I would just leave the top or leave the back end off of it all, 4 or 5 months out of the year. Then I'd put that on, but I'd still drive the tracker around without the main top on it. Pretty much any day that was even remotely had no chance of raining. I love convertibles. That was my first convertible, and I loved it. I've also had a Toyota MR2 Spider since then, and my most recent is a Nissan 350Z Roadster. Love convertibles. Although I've been thinking about selling the Nissan because I just don't have time to drive it anymore because I'm not commuting to work anymore. Like,
Yeah.
It's
you're not commuting to work. The it's like raining longer every year.
So I bought a truck. I traded in my MR2 Spider and I bought a truck. And I'm like, of course I can handle the drop in gas mileage and whatnot. Going from 35 to 18 is not that big a deal, right?
Oh my God.
And then it's like, holy crap, it's a really big deal. And so I went out and I'm like, well, I want another like Roadster, but I can't get something as small as the MR2 because I was physically uncomfortable in that after like 20 minutes of driving. And so I'm like, let's get like a full-size Roadster. Let's get a 350Z or something like that. So I found this one, bought it, loved it. And if you really babied it, you'd get 27 miles the gallon, especially on the commute that I was doing, which was almost entirely highway, which was great. And so the Z literally paid for itself in the 3 or so years that I was still commuting to work. But then in 2020, I quit my job and I stayed home, and I've been doing like 6,000 miles a year, and that's it. Like, I don't drive anywhere if I don't have to. So yeah, I've been thinking about selling the Nissan, and it's not because I don't want it anymore. It's just I'm not driving it. So
yeah, time to go to somebody who's going to drive it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a car that deserves to be driven. It's got mostly Nismo conversion on it. It's the Grand Touring edition of the 350Z Roadster. The year following, the 2005 model year, came out with the Nismo, but this has most of the Nismo gear on it. It has the forged aluminum wheels. It has the torsion bars. It's got struts. It's got all the Nismo parts that were available for 2005 but put onto my 2004. I've also put some lowering springs on it. It's got brand new suspension, brand new brakes. If one of you wants to buy it, like, just call me. Like just get in touch with me. I'll sell it to you. So can US people import new vehicles from Mexico? No. Not without heavy import things, most of which the average citizen cannot do. The US does have a 25-year exemption, so once a car hits 25 years old, you can import any vehicle you want with no restrictions, assuming you can pass your state's EQ, but most states' EQ only goes back 20 years. So at 25 years, you're pretty much golden ticket to buy whatever you want. So yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't import like a Suzuki Samurai, which were being produced until like 2 or 3 years ago down in Mexico. Like, you could still get them, and there's like Isuzu Troopers and little 2-door 4-wheel drive SUVs of that ilk. There's a lot of those type of vehicles that were just never sold in the US anymore, and they were cool cars. I like them, but yeah.
Heck yeah.
All
well,
right.
You want to hit a couple more news stories before we're running out of time?
We got a couple
What are you
more.
thinking?
So this interesting little tidbit from Extreme Tech, I think we all knew, but there's a difference between knowing and knowing, if you know what I mean, when it comes to power draw. So power draw is always a hot button issue because it's one of those things that no one ever thinks too much about, and usually when you do, you're wrong about what you think power draw is, and peak power draw and sustained power draw, and what your system actually needs for power, which is why we see like 1,000-watt power supplies being sold for a Ryzen 5600 and a 2060. You know it's only going to draw like 230 watts from the wall at any point in time, right? But there's been a new era of hardware that is kind of pushing the limits of, shall we say, single-phase houses? Houses with 15 and 20 amp circuits. Intel's new Sapphire Rapids workstation CPUs, specifically on the higher end when you get to the 36, the 48, and the 56 core models, those can draw a tad of power, so to speak. So can the RTX 4090 from NVIDIA, which infamously can draw well over 800 watts at peak draw. If you have a task that is taking both CPU and GPU, you're going to need to convert to 240 here soon, unless you already have it. So it is conceivable to build a single CPU, single graphics card workstation that can draw 1,500 watt sustained loads.
Good Lord.
Right now. So EVGA's 1,800 and 2,000 watt power supplies, like, there's finally a need for them without like stacking triple graphics cards into a system.
And from all of the comments I've seen on our videos, not feasible for anybody outside of the United States, just based on power costs.
Kind of. Oh yeah, based on just the cost to run the systems, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I talked. Was it? No, it was in my last server video. That's right. Where I mentioned the price of power at. So here in the middle of Willamette Valley, Oregon, we have almost entirely 100% hydroelectric power. It's sustainable, it's renewable, and best of all, we have a lot of rivers here, and it's dirt cheap. And most of that infrastructure was paid for 30 years ago. And so the cost to generate power today equates to me as a paying customer of 7.4 cents per kilowatt hour. It's some of the cheapest power in, honestly, the civilized world. I think only one comment out of all the comments about their power draw came in lower than mine, which kind of proves that point. But I got like 100 comments going, holy crap, it's 35 cents here in Germany, or 42 cents here in Australia, or this, or 28 cents in the UK, and from all over the world, and even parts of the US. You get Texas, New York, California, where it's like,
we take it for granted.
We're still like 24, 28 cents, something like that. 7.4 cents per kilowatt hour. That's what I pay. So when you ask me what it takes to run my server, I have a family of 5, and I run a home lab, and my electricity bill, including no natural gas, by the way. We're all electric here as far as heating, cooling, HVAC, water heater, etc.
Yeah.
Over under 275, maybe 300 on a bad month.
Man. I mean, what's funny is I'm like, that's a lot. But also, like, I've seen your server rack, like, just based on noise alone. Like,
right.
Like, really, that's it? Dang, man.
Yeah. By the way, that's my total power bill, not just the server rack.
Here's some people chiming in. 6.9, interesting, and have 30-month fee. Quebec, apparently they're paying 6 something.
Yeah.
Rett charging the car. That's like
some parts,
75 cents a day.
There are some parts with specific power companies throughout the world that do have cheaper electricity that does dip into the 6s. In the 7s, I'm still part of like the 95th percentile or something like that.
It's something I don't even think about, like, Man, I'm like, because my house, I don't have central air or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm running like 3 separate portable or window AC units.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not even batting an eyelash. That's running 24/7 in my house.
Right. That's what we used to run at my old house. Was we had 3 window AC units upstairs, and then we had a giant one downstairs that was a standalone with the hose that went up to the window.
Portable, they call them.
Right. And yeah, we whatever, it was still like $200. Like,
yeah. And the first time I'd ever thought about power consumption is like I went and visited my family in Hawaii, and obviously generating power on Hawaii is vastly different, and they're like, only use the AC if you need it. Like, I'm talking like, you about to black out, can a cold washcloth help you?
Right.
Because that's where we're at. I'm like, okay. But it's not just power over there either. It's like,
I'm from Oregon, 72 is hot.
I'm like, oh boy. Yeah, whole other world.
Yeah.
And apparently that's the case in a lot of places, like in Europe, and especially in Europe right now, with things going on over in Eastern Europe that are really exacerbating energy costs. So we kind of take it for granted, but it might not be the case for much longer. Who knows? I hope so, but 12 cents per kilowatt hour in Ohio. That's pretty good. 12 cents in South Carolina, 8.4 cents wherever Jeremy S. is from.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that Compton?
Yeah. Yeah, was that him? Tacoma. I mean, Pacific Northwest, baby. We got cheap power, so.
Yeah. There's dollar per kilowatt hour, and then there's additional fees for being connected to the grid. We do have fees like base level fees for like water and sewage hookup around here.
I don't think that applies to our power really, though.
But that doesn't apply to our power, and our power. My particular power company is a co-op, and so I'm actually part owner of my local power company, like a 0.0000001% owner, but whatever.
Do we not have the same power company anymore?
We do not.
Oh, because you're on the other side.
I'm on the other side.
Wow, look at you. Look at you. I just got a 15% rate increase, and you're over there part owner.
I think mine went down 1.5 cents recently.
Okay. Wow. You know what? When the big one happens, I'm glad that everything west of I-5 is gone. Okay.
I'm glad my power crews are local.
You know what? Fine. I'll be stranded in my house with no heat or anything.
And you know what? I'm the only one who's going to save you.
You're like, well, my power crews came by and restored everything within 3.5 hours, Rett. They need me to come check on you.
It was 2 hours last time, and I still gave you until Sunday.
Oh, the local politics of 40s.
I care about you, but you still need to know your place. So good. One more story I really wanted to touch on, and then maybe we'll take a couple of questions. Arby's,
yes,
are bringing back their D&D limited edition dice. That is right, an entire set of Arby's themed dice can be yours for a limited time.
Yeah, it looks like you can buy them online if you really, really, really want to, or you can get your butt over to a store, get yourself a roast beef sandwich. And I think they're only like $12.
Yeah.
Look at that. You got the little Arby's logo right there in the center.
Yeah.
They aren't bad looking dice.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're like kind of generic and all that sort of stuff, but they're not bad looking dice.
They're a little generic, but you got all the essentials. You got your D20, your D6, your 8, your 4, your 10. Like, they're all there.
You got a whole set there.
You got a whole set. Right. And that's kind of the point. And it's like, they're Arby's.
Yeah.
They have the meats and the dice.
For whatever reason, this surprised me. Like, when I was reading this article, they're like, Arby's for some time has been trying to align themselves with like nerd culture. And I was like, what?
I mean,
like, is it just me? Like, am I living in this like insulated world or whatever? But John H. Benjamin is their spokesman, otherwise known as Sterling Archer. Oh shoot! See,
I
there you go.
mean,
Okay, all right. They're working on it.
yeah.
Oh, out of stock online, according to Rev.
Yeah.
The one by my job closed a month ago. Oh, sorry, man. One person in my, I have a weekly D&D podcast called The End at the End at dndpodcast.org. And one person from our show managed to go ahead and already get their hands on a set of these dice. So I was hoping to do the same, but I think the promotion just started like this week, like 2 days ago or something like that. And like some of these places are already running out. Like it's so ridiculous that it's even coming to this. But like, oh no, Arby's is running out of dice
tomorrow. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, we got to go to Arby's.
We could probably make that happen. So
get yourself some curly fries and some horsey sauce.
That's right.
You know, as much as a bad rap as Arby's gets, it's not that bad. You know,
I don't understand the bad rap that it gets. I honestly don't.
It's just because, like, I don't know, man. They used to have their dollar like little like cheese melt sandwiches.
Sliders, right.
Dang, those were good, man. For $1, that was better than the freaking McChicken sometimes. Oh, you know? Like if you want something different,
the
like
McDoubles and
yeah. Oh man, like so good. Yeah,
and what you can get at Burger King, which is like meat in a bun,
right? You know, and it's like I love Burger King, but you know, occasionally they're just missing. You know, it's all so dependent on your location and everything. And but yeah, somebody's saying it's fake processed meat in a block, and to you I say you're fake processed meat in a block.
To that I say, yeah, and so is every other fast food you've ever gone to, like, and most of the high-end restaurants.
Look,
you ever walked into the kitchen at a Red Robin? Like,
me and that meat came from the same place, all right, from the heart of a star. So I ain't gonna discriminate now, all right. The only difference is I gained consciousness.
When did we?
And at one point,
when did we land in a Katy Perry song? That's what I want to know.
Well, around 2008, and it just keeps going.
Okay. But you can decide. Are you going to be left shark or right shark?
I'm always left shark, baby. You know what I'm saying? Always.
Googly bringing it back around. Been married 20 years in June. Congratulations. That's awesome. Are they available nationwide? I don't know, but they are in limited supply. Yeah. Arby's collectible Dungeons & Dragons dice are a limited time offer. Available in select locations and online, but apparently they're already sold out online. So your only hope is to get them in store at this point.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Apparently dice is really popular at Arby's.
Yeah.
With the Arby's goers.
You know what? Maybe I'm just going to have to start engraving my own stainless steel dice. Like,
that'd be pretty sick, dude.
Right? There's a number of metal shops around me. I wonder if I could get them to cut me the raw shapes.
Yeah, why not?
And then
some of the best dice I have were cut raw from a slab of zinc.
Yeah.
And they were actually my cheapest set of dice too, for whatever reason. I mean, and I got a lot of dice. I play a lot of D&Ds, so. But yeah. And I used to have my own foundry, and I would cast my own aluminum dice as well.
Nice. That would be something pretty cool to offer as like a limited item of either like zinc or aluminum cast items.
So I still own the foundry, but it's like a 2,000-pound cement slab. So if you can figure out a way to move it, if you can figure out how to move it,
more likely, I would just like give you the molds.
Problem is, I can't run it where it's at now, so because it's not in my house. I couldn't. I moved it once. That's what I did. I had this 2,000-pound cement slab where we ran frickin' propane through, and it took a lot of fuel to get it up to temperature because it was so big.
Yeah.
But then you could melt a ton of aluminum. You could melt a lot of stuff, but we mostly did aluminum, and then we had a couple tumblers and things like that, industrial tumblers.
Mm-hmm.
And we would do sand molding for the most part.
Yeah.
And you just take the aluminum, you put it into sand molds, and we put it into these industrial tumblers and shake off the imperfections and things like this. Yeah. It was pretty cool for a little bit, but I can't run it where it is anymore, just because the owners of the place don't really want it. But it's still good. I just can't, and it's also I can't move it without heavy equipment. So so it's just there.
Yep. I don't think a foundry is going to be in my list of things for Studio 3.0.
I got the blowers, I got the plumbing, I got everything you need, Jeff.
I know.
I got all the equipment to handle molten metal.
Just because I'm adding space doesn't mean I want to fill it like immediately with crap that I don't use once.
Fine. Whatever you say.
All right. Anything good of the order? Otherwise, I think.
No, I really have nothing good of the order. Go check us out one more time. Patreon.com/craftcomputing. Keep your eye on craftcomputing.store. And if you haven't subscribed to Craft Computing on YouTube yet, I mean, you're all here, but give us a sub if you haven't done it yet. Go and sub to Craft Extra. That's XTRA.
Yes.
XTRA, Craft Extra. Think of it like a beer, right? There you're going to be able to get clips of this show. You're going to be able to get other videos as we hopefully put more out there.
Yep.
And yes,
definitely stay tuned if you like the channel, if you like the content. There are so many big announcements coming this month and next month. I'm kind of losing track. And what's really funny is I was talking to my wife last night because last night I had like a mini anxiety attack, which I haven't had for a long time. But it's because my anxiety's under control now. And it just happened that before I was in a constant state of anxiety. And so I was able to deal with things just kind of as they rolled in. And anymore, new changes will kind of like trigger that again, or like big projects that I'm undertaking and whatnot. And it's like, wow, I feel like weird. And she goes, yeah, it's because you're not stressed to the breaking point anymore.
Funny how that works, right?
It's like, I don't know how to deal with this now.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. All of a sudden you have this clarity and nothing makes sense.
All right. But I'm like, yeah.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, I was talking to her. I'm like, yeah, I'm having like a mini panic attack. I don't know what's going on. Like, all I did was do my taxes and talk about finances for 4 hours today, and then do this thing, and then decide the future of my company, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah?
It's big stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's big stuff.
Yeah.
Well, keep your eye on all those places, guys. Lots of big things happening. Springtime, which means that the flowers are blooming. Leaves are coming back.
I don't know what the implications are there, but other than like allergy season is coming. So take your Claritin. Hopefully you can still drink beer with it.
I mean, that craft computing is a flower and we're blooming.
Ooh, you were getting deep with the analogies.
I was getting poetic. Did that go over your head?
It totally did. You just said it's springtime and the flowers are blooming. I'm like, yes, and I kind of hate this time of year. The hell is wrong with you?
Kind of endearing, Jeff. That's really endearing. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a flower. Watch me bloom. Thank you so much for watching Talking Heads, episode 281. As always, catch us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news right here on YouTube. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Follow me on Mastodon at Craft Computing, at hostux.social. He is Rett is awesome at mastodon.social. Links are both down in the video description. Join the Patreon, take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party that happens every single Wednesday night immediately following the show. And as always, we'll see you next week.